Hey everyone, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take. Oh, dang it. Hate when that happens. And this is not funny. Serious it up here. Walter Wallace Jr.'s mother said she pleaded for her son's life. Don't shoot my son. Now, according to more information coming out, it looks like Walter did have some sort of mental problem, some kind of issue. No one's really sure. But you know what? It doesn't change much. That you called the cops, or someone did, I mean, man with a knife, the cops are not mental health therapists. Nor can they be if someone's running around threatening people with a knife. They just can't. And this is not the response. I mean, you're going to loot, I think this is a Walmart, and steal electronics. You're just being thieves. I mean, this is a disgrace. Everyone here should be under arrest. Every single person here. And I hope you're all arrested. I do. You shouldn't steal. It doesn't matter that it's from Walmart and you've had a tough life or whatever. Everybody has issues. Everybody has things that they got to do. It's not right to steal. Once we sort of cross that Rubicon, you'll never get back from it. This is from the ABC feed. They're just filming it. Where are the cops? They're trying to keep law and order elsewhere, and you people are taking advantage to rob a store to steal a widescreen TV. And look, he's got two of them here. He's greedy. It's greedy. It's greedy, dude. Greedy, arrogant, stupid. Everyone here should go to jail. Every single person. Lock them up. Yeah, it is a Walmart. Look at it. Absolute chaos. So, let me explain to you a little bit. Oh, here's some cops. Ooh, maybe we'll see some arrest. Good. Arrest these people. Arrest them all. So while we're watching this, I just wanted to tell you what a more libertarian society might look like with regard to the shooting. The first thing that would happen is you would have probably a privatized police force. And what that would mean is people in the neighborhood would probably pool their money together to pay a local law enforcement company to be their police. Okay? And what that would lead to is a more... Look at these idiots. Look at these idiots. They're just abandoning the stuff. They're smashing into each other. They're trying to get away. This idiot's got one on his car. Good. Arrest him. Arrest him. You idiot. You didn't even tie it to the car? Jesus. That idiot just dropped it in the street. Holy cow, dude. You almost ran over a cop. Get the F out of here. Bravo, Philly's finest. Bravo. Joan's chasing them off. Joan's chasing off the looters, won't you, Joan? Won't you? So, a private police force would have responded differently, I think, to Walter Wallace Jr. A private police force probably would have just been the neighborhood's, the housing development or the neighborhood's police force, right? So they would have hired them, and they could think outside the box a little bit, and they would be more interested in serving their customers than necessarily solving any giant crimes on a statewide scale or anything. So, and they would be much more interested in solving any crime that their customers are the victims of, including property crime. See, right now we have a police force. You call them for a property crime, they just fill out forms and they go, yeah, we're never going to call you. We're never going to find this stuff. Once in a while they stumble upon something, but normally they never find anybody. Look at these morons. They're such idiots. So a private police force, probably what they would have done in the case of Walter Wallace, is they would have collected information on all their customers. And they would have had information that Walter Wallace was, in fact, an issue. That he had a mental problem. And my guess is this probably isn't the first time, Walter got out of hand. It would seem odd to me that if, he had a straight record of never having an incident, and then suddenly he starts having incidents, that would be highly unusual. So it's likely that, and I'm just speculating, it's all my opinion, I'm speculating that he probably, if he had a mental condition, this probably wasn't the first time the police were called. This was just probably the first time he had a knife. So if the family was paying for police presence, it is likely under a privatized system, eventually they would have to start charging the Wallace family more money. And the Wallace family would be like, well, this is a problem. And they'd have to sit Walter down and go, Walter, you can't keep doing this. We have to keep calling the cops here, and they keep charging us money to, put you wherever they put him, or whatever they did with him. And the police themselves would have had a file, right? They would have had a file, and they, as their customers, they would have come up with a solution, or been more likely to come up with a solution like, well, Walter needs X, Y, and Z, whether he needs medication or counseling or whatever. They would have pushed for that more, and they would have been more centered on, oh, that's cool, the cops are returning the TVs. Good for you guys. Good job. So they would have probably helped the family push for more counseling, more, whatever Walter would have needed not to do this. And I think it would have been more on the family to police Walter better, because otherwise they would just keep paying and paying every time the cops were called. And also the locals would be like, our rates keep going up because of Walter. You have to do something about Walter. So I think it would have encouraged people, look at this moron. Oh, I hope he gets caught. Catch this idiot. Catch him. I think it would have forced the family to maybe have been more diligent in policing Walter. And no one really talks about that. In an incident like this, Walter was the one that needed policing if, in fact, he has some sort of mental issue. If he's not responsible, well, then someone is. And it falls to his family and his parents, especially. Otherwise, they got to get him in a home, some kind of facility that would take care of him and make sure he didn't hurt himself or others. Look at these idiots. You're thieves. You people are thieves. And this is the kind of stuff that needs to be dealt with. Right here. Anyhow. So, Walter, it probably wouldn't have escalated to a shooting under a more privatized police force. Now, if in fact it did escalate to the point at which Walter had I guess that's it. Faded out a minute. Walter did have a knife, then the privatized police force would have had a policy in place which their customers probably would have been more aware of. And the reason they would have been more aware of that is because as customers, you know what you buy, right? If you don't want to buy into this, there would have been some meeting the neighborhood would have had. We're going to renew our contract with such and such police force. Here's their deal. I mean, they would have been alerted to all that. A security company would have said, here's what we do. Here's how we respond to things. And the neighborhood itself would be more, and the neighborhood and the police force would be more responsive to each other because it would be smaller. It wouldn't be the Philadelphia police force, which is this big thing. It would have been the police force for that neighborhood. Okay? It wouldn't make any sense to just have a police force that's privatized and then, for it all of Philly. I mean, that's just going to create more problems than it would solve. Um, so another issue would be that under a more libertarian society, you would probably have legalized drugs, or most drugs would be legal. So those neighborhoods wouldn't be as bad as they are. And I think part of the problem is this with some of these rioters. The black community for many years had issues in terms of joblessness. Now, a lot of that was alleviated before Trump. I'm not trying to say Trump saved the black community or anything. However, he's contributed significantly by getting jobs to people, right? So, but prior to that, you had a situation where there were jobs, but there weren't a lot of jobs. So you have a community like the ones in Philly that I see, where some people work, a decent amount of people work, but a lot of people don't. There's still a significant population that doesn't work. There's just not enough jobs or training or whatever the problems are. So in comes Trump with more opportunity zones, more jobs, more employment, less regulations. So what happens? At that point, I guess we're done with that. At that point, you have people. Let's say you have a population with 25% unemployment, let's say, right? And what are those 25% people are? Now, some of them want to genuinely work, but they've tried, maybe they worked for a while and lost their job, and plus the beer virus killed a lot of business, so a lot of people aren't working. So you end up with a community where a good portion of people end up at the local bar or on the street corner, and they just hang out, and they're knuckleheads, and they got really nothing to do other than to drink, maybe smoke a little weed. That guy's stealing a mannequin. Now most guys, I think, don't really want to do that. They don't. If they really had time to think about it, that's not what their lives want to be. But there are guys who get into that lifestyle and they love it, and that's their life. So now imagine you're one of those people. You love that life. You love hanging out on the street corners and get wasted every day. And then suddenly, a good portion of those people all get jobs, and they leave you. And you go into the local bar in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, and no one's there. Or there's like one or two people there, real hardcore alcoholics, or people who are like you, who they never worked a day in their life. But you used to go in there and it'd be like 20, 30, 40 people, and it'd be a good time. Now it's like you've been abandoned. And now you see some of those people, you run into them, like, hey man, where you been? I haven't seen you at the bar. Oh man, I got a job. Hey, you want me to get you a job? And maybe they take them up on that, and for a while they work, and then they hate working, so they quit, or they get fired, or they're drinking on the job, or whatever. It's the same small core group of people who are causing the trouble. Now, they're not criminals per se, although some of them turn to crime, but a lot of them they're just local knuckleheads. They don't work. And I kind of can relate to that, being a freelancer, in that I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I want to be a freelancer. I want to write. I want to do stuff. I can't always do that. Sometimes I have to go back to work. Like during this virus, I had to go back to work. So, you get used to that freewheeling lifestyle. I mean, I miss it. I sleep till noon and, run my errands in the middle of the day. And, I worked, but I didn't have to work. I could work my own hours, right? I could work till 3 a.m, get something done, knock it out. And then, if I worked extra hard, I could give myself a couple of days off, or I'd have a few days off. I didn't have enough work to sustain me. But, these guys, the kind of guys who really don't work, they're on government assistance, or they're living off their families, whatever. And so when everybody starts working and they're not working, and now they're being pressured to work, dude, everybody's getting a job. What happens? Well, they get angry, and when something like this happens, they're the first ones to bust into the door and say, aha, this is my opportunity, because they're hungry, right? The other guys who are working, they're not here. People with jobs, they're not doing this. None of these people have jobs, in my view. None of these people. Thank you, Action News. So let's see. Let's try this one. None of these people who are out on the street in the middle of the night, this looks like Market Street, have jobs. They don't. If they had jobs, they'd be like, oh man, I got to get up for work tomorrow. I can't go out like this. I can't get beaten up. I can't get arrested. I got a job. Yeah, I can't miss work. So this is part of the issue. And right now, the beer virus put so many people out of work. You've got all these knuckleheads. You've got more knuckleheads than usual. And you got people that are right on the fence, right? You got people who, yeah, they can slip into the not working bar lifestyle, or they can, yeah, I'll get a job. This is probably too much. And they go back to work. No problem. But, you've got too many people out of work. And I think that's what's driving this. And in a libertarian economy, you couldn't afford to do any of this. It would be like, I got to work. If I don't work, I don't drink, I don't eat, nothing. Because even the bars would be different. Everything would cost money. It would all cost a little bit of money, because there'd be this constant exchange of goods in a libertarian society, right? We'd still have paid toilets if you had a libertarian society. So people would be driven to work because they'd be like, well, we'd have all this hyper capitalism. And, some stuff would be free under a libertarian society. You could maybe work that for a while to your advantage, but most stuff would not be free. And you wouldn't get the sense of, I'm entitled to this free thing, whether it's a public park or the police or education or whatever. You wouldn't have that sense of entitlement. It would all cost money, all of it. So I think a libertarian society would solve a lot of these problems. You wouldn't have this rioting from communists, because you wouldn't have communists. They would quickly fall by the wayside, and people go, oh right, I got to pay 15 cents just to walk down the sidewalk. And you're talking about communism, make it free? Yeah, right. So capitalism, in short, would solve everything, and libertarianism would. And we wouldn't have all this stuff. We wouldn't have all these regulation. All these people could start little businesses with practically free from regulation. There would be competition, so you wouldn't have these bigger corporations or bigger local companies squashing it. Everybody would work, and everybody would be, quite frankly, too tired for this nonsense. And this is indeed nonsense. Stop rioting, Philly. Go back to work.